The thing that makes it so difficult to protect homes in informal settlements is that firstly the dwellings are close together, so when your neighbour's burning you have flames right onto your home.
Because of the spaces and how the shacks are built within the community, because they're so close to each other, narrow spaces, and right now there's more people living in here than that was built to be. And now people are just building double-story shacks.
And then your home is often permeable. There may be gaps in the walls that the fire can slip through. You may have newspaper stuffed into holes that will ignite. And even if you don't have those, you've got a front door, you've got a window that can break or are left open, and then the fire can come through those. So it's quite easy for the fire to come from whichever side. And even if from the sides, then you maybe have some plastic draped over your roof to prevent leaks, and that can ignite and pull the fire into your home.
If a fire breaks out now, because it takes like a minute for a shack to burn, and that meaning that how many shacks around that area that just burn within the space of an hour.
From ignition, you may have less than a minute until the home is fully engulfed in flames, depending on what ignites and how fast it spreads initially. Most deaths that occur are actually from smoke inhalation asphyxiation, and that can be a very slow process. You fall asleep on the couch, cigarette burns, and then slowly releases smoke. And then, let's say, especially if someone's intoxicated, they will die almost without even knowing what's happened. So the aim of today is really so people can see, firstly, how fast the home burns down, how hot it gets, how difficult it can be to put the fire out, and then also just how these homes look like when they burn. Looking at the home behind me, as we've seen it burning, there have been large flames coming from openings, but also when you see the informal dwelling similar to the way they're built, a couple of key things should stand out. You've got lots of gaps around the edge, flames coming out of them, but also if you're the next door neighbor, there might be flames coming into them. Secondly, large flames coming straight out the front door. You've got a big door or window, 2-3 meter long flames coming out and can easily ignite something at a couple of meters away. Little burning pieces thrown up into the air, spotting or branding, and they can be carried either short distance, 2-3 meters, or maybe long distances and ignite a fire 10, 20, 30, 50 meters away, causing a new fire to break out. So a couple of things to notice when you look at the dwellings. These sheets have been used and burnt down many times before, and people often do that. From a previous fire, they'll take their materials, reuse them again. And so if we come along with a fancy product and want to apply it, you've got rusted old sheeting and now you want to put on a paint or a boarding system or whatever it is, and if there are gaps in it, you're pretty much going to negate the influence of that product. So now we've got a plastic layer which can ignite very easily, either from flaming brands or radiation from a distance or flame lipping up against. The outside ignites, and then it will find a hole somewhere. And that hole might be a small hole, and it might just be the door. You know, you leave your home and you leave the door open, you've got a straight way for the fire to come straight into your home. So these homes are never fully fire safe. There's always a way for fire to come into the home. Here we have what you might see in many homes. Might be old sheeting or old timber or whatever it is, path for the fire in, path for the fire out. And especially now, let's say you've got this hole here or that hole, you might stuff it up with paper. The newspapers really can get ignited quickly. So that's why you often want to look, if you're trying to fire safe a home, where does the fire get in? Can I fire safe the product at the joints? When people come up with interventions to make homes better, they often forget how many homes are built. People do the best they can, often do an excellent job with limited tools, but try to put a board, a paint, something across here to make it fire safe, and you're really going to struggle when you've got pieces peeling off. The fire behind me is dying down right now, but just imagine now this was flaming. You've got large flames coming out the door and you want to put it out. If you come up with a small product, which would be equivalent to about 1 liter of material, and you throw it in, it's going to do virtually nothing. It'll slightly cool down maybe one small portion, but it's so hot, the fire just comes back. So if you throw small volumes, a liter or a product or a ball or whatever it is into it, once it's post-flasher, once it's fully involved, it does very, very little to the fire. You need a lot of material, a lot of cooling effect, a lot of water. It can be 30, 40, 50, 60 liters of water you need to put this out. 2, 3, 5 liters is going to be very little cooling effect and very little damage to the fire.
If we can address the material bank in such a way that the materials that are available to them are somehow fireproof. Also, affordability. What can the household afford to use during winter? Winter is always the peak time where people want to warm themselves up. They don't have gas heater, they don't have electric heater. They make coal or fire and they put it in their structure. Those are the areas that affect how fire spread and fire disaster happens. So if we are able to provide incremental upgrading by providing electricity in such a way that no electricity theft that could trigger fire, those are the areas where we would need to step up and create an enabling environment for community to thrive and transcend from precarious living to dignified, livable neighborhoods.
There are a lot of interventions, and any intervention you're trying, we need to evaluate it from understanding how a home burns and how a settlement burns. Testing and research is key for the fire department, the NGOs, the universities, everyone to get involved. We shouldn't be rolling out interventions until they've been thoroughly tested, thoroughly approved, both on a community level and on a fire behavior level.